Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the fastest Terran out there. In the blue, it's Team Liquid's Clem. Up against the former world champion Zerg in the red, the Executioner. It's Rogue. A best of 5 Terran versus Zerg. The old generation versus the new. Rogue might have almost 10 years on Clem, but those 10 years include world championships and a whole lot more experience. Whereas Clem, his relentless aggression, usually what carries him through. Just like my relentless aggression when it comes to begging for likes and subscribes, if you haven't made it there yet. And Jimmy, what are we? 1,342 likes on this series, on this cast, on this generational showdown. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. I don't need to introduce these players any further. If you've watched StarCraft 2 for pretty much any amount of time, you know Clem. And if you've watched for a little bit longer, you certainly know Rogue. The villain, really, before Dark as the final boss. The player who would embarrass Maru before Cyril made a habit of it. The player who had no qualms about doing cheeses and all-ins. Well, he's on the back foot. The back feet to start with that many queens against Clem's Reapers, who's kind of had the torch passed to him, or at least handed another one from beyond, who making these Reapers really work for it. Clem is about to finish his 3rd command center, while Rogue is sitting on 2 base. He does have Zerglings with speed who are awkwardly close to passing by the Reapers. Clem will micro back, hits the grenade, and almost pops the Reapers the other way, but ends up actually getting one isolated and killed. But the Reapers are just there to keep everything busy. As long as you don't look away or get them caught for even a quarter second, they are a reliable tool for defending your base and playing zone defense against the Zerglings. Now, of course, if you do look away for that split second and you lose any of the Reapers, then suddenly you've lost all map control vision and really any ability to move out before medevacs. But that didn't happen, did it? So Clem, speaking of medevacs, starport already on the way. Double racks on the low ground. No engineering bays yet, so intent on a quick follow-up sort of aggression as opposed to a full greed build, where he focuses a lot more on building up later on. Lifts up the starport, and then just lands it. Not sure what he's waiting for there. Decides on a Liberator. Maybe he was debating between Liberator and just getting towards medevacs earlier. But Hellions joining up with the Reapers. And Rogue, for his part, just 50 drones. Well, 50 drones. Not slipping too much on production despite the aggression of the Reapers. Making sure he has the economy for when the 3rd base is finally online, no matter how many queens are bounced over it. And Evo Chambers on the way, not too far behind Clem. And we'll have quite a significant worker lead, which until Clem is able to land his 3rd, well, that's on the way right now, Rogue will be able to enjoy a somewhat higher economy. Very important going into the next phase, the medevac phase, where, especially as a Zerg without Hydras or Spire, let's see when he gets... That's ranged attack upgrades. So, maybe a bit more likely on the Hydras there. Creep Tumor's taken down. Trades out, what, 1 Reaper? Clem has lost 2 Reapers. Rogue's only lost 5 Lings. They've been going back and forth, but no one actually losing units here as they jockey for position. Liberator re-sieges, try to outmaneuver the Queen. The Hellions in towards the 3rd. And, so far, still Rogue playing great defense across the board. I don't think that quite hits the drones in that position, but Clem being as annoying as possible. A gunship-sized thorn in Rogue's side, but he rips it out. And now, 66 drones complete. 5 more Overlords on the way. Rogue looks like he has every intention of massing roaches and trying to smash anything coming towards him and then carrying it across the map. Meanwhile, Clem, at the 3rd base, absolutely no reinforcements to defend. And without combat shield or 1-1, these Marines can't really compete with the roaches and queens. 4 SCVs dead, and he's forced to pull the rest away. So overall, Rogue getting the better end of this exchange. Clem drops out. Should be able to cancel the 4th base, but we'll lose a few more Marines for it. And by that, I mean 1. Into the main, though. A Spore Crawler already zoning out, and Queen scrambling into position. 1-1 upgrades. Almost identical timing. I think Clem has a few seconds of an edge. The Marines drop out again. But the Roaches, strong enough. Nidus on the way for Rogue. 1-1. About to complete as well, and the Queens. All right. Well, you got about 30 seconds, all right? Build up some energy. Susan, you're going in first. You always go in first. Do I get paid more? You get paid? What? Shh, Brenda. Shh. Sorry. The Nidus loaded up, and is there any vision, or is he just going to do an attack Nidus? A tactical Nidus reinforcement. So far, an Overseer's heading towards the main. The Roaches and Ravagers are looking to bash through at the natural. And Clem? Well, without siege tanks, the supply is not looking particularly healthy. The corrosive battles come up, and they actually land down on the Marines and kill a medevac. Clem, with some uncharacteristic micro-elect thereof, ends up losing a medevac and a chunk of Marines. Meanwhile, Nidus Network in the main, Clem not reacting, yet Rogue ends up losing a lot of his Roaches. But this Nidus is completing Clem. Clem! Oh no. That's not exactly the time you want to hear it, and even now, doesn't realize we've arrived! There's creep tumors coming up in the main base. Rogue keeping Clem at bay. Not expecting such all-out aggression on that 3 base. Gonna lose another siege tank. A reinforcing Nidus. The main base gonna be cleaned up. The Queens pop back in. The SCVs are full, but the 3rd base has been gutted. A dozen SCVs down, and the factory is now vulnerable. The 2nd factory that he needs to build the siege tank count to recover from this. But Clem, there's creep in the main, which provides vision for another Nidus, which Rogue will take full advantage of. And Roaches and Ravagers at the 3rd, which Clem doesn't really have the critical mass of Marines to be able to just stim his way through. A single siege tank won't deter him. The Nidus will complete it. The Queens are popping out of the middle line again. Actually, well, only 1, but another creep tumor and a Nidus at the back, and Rogue pulling him apart from both ends right now. And if we were doing phrasing, now might be the time to reconsider it. But Marines are good, but this amount of Roaches and Ravagers seems like it might be even better. The Queen's leading the charge. And Roaches taking out yet another siege tank. My. Well, Rogue with a decisive victory in Game 1. Clem never really got anything going, and Rogue undercut him quickly. Wow. I mean, that's what he's known for, are these timings that just completely catch you off guard and take full advantage of it. He didn't really, he didn't get an advantage and say, all right, that's good, let's go back and macro up. No, he kept pounding on him. Right up until Clem had nothing left. But still, a bit uncharacteristic of Clem not to notice the Nidus lose a few extra Marines. All right, this match must have been played before 6 p.m., which is Clem's usual time he wakes up, I assume. So, actually, that is true, though. He's notoriously a gamer in that sense. I would be a little hypocritical to not. The summary is, I may or may not have slept through a few classes because GSL is hosted at 5 a.m., which is not a great time. You could, of course, wake up early, but let's not be ridiculous here. Now, Game 2 Golden Aura. Clem, he went for the full macro, almost full macro opener. He went for the double medevac instead of the quicker upgrades. But he delayed the 4th base. But Rogue was already angling for a 3-base timing. The 4th base was a bit of a red herring there, where it was the 4th base got Clem in the macro move. Like, all right, we're going to be going... Maybe he's going to go to Hive. I got to find my timing. And oh my god, that's a lot of roaches. Reaper being as annoying as usual, which is infuriatingly so. But this time... Oh, he lays down the creep tumor, but Clem... Only Clem's Reapers will get me excited for a creep tumor building. Okay. The drama. No, we're not just trying to create exciting content for the generic first 4 minutes of the game. No, this is serious. But this time, Rogue able to get that creep tumor for pretty much free. So, a much more comfortable start. Partially because Clem didn't go 2 Rex Reaper. He only has 1 Reaper, so can only do so much with that. What? Where you going? Dodging around. Queen has a bit of joint pain off the creep. What was going on there? The creep looked like it was spreading backwards. Might have just been a visual kind of glitch there, but... Crazy. So... Reaper keeping tabs on things. Oh, it's that time of the day. All right, he recognized based on the third base that there wouldn't be Zergling speed, so the Hellions just dart in. And they start roasting. Ugh. Those are... The drones, just 2. Lights up more. Get 4 more. With a great line of fire. And Clem... It only costs him a Reaper and a Hellion, and those are early. Oh, he's coming in for more. The Queens doing their best. 1 Hellion is a single knitting needle away from being deconstructed, but still keeping right on the edge of things. Another group of Hellions. So the timing of the third base, even if you don't see the gas, timing of the third base is almost always a giveaway of speed being later, which means you have an opportunity to get in. The speed won't be done by the time the Hellions get across the map, which is not necessarily true with a more safe, like, gas before third base build. So Clem took advantage of that opportunity. He may try to do so again, but the Zerglings at the natural finding some damage. There's nothing here. The Hellions on the other side, and the Queens politely yet firmly asked them to leave. 4 SCVs died to just a small clutch of Zerglings. Definitely a worthy trade for Rogue, especially with the Queens already in position to strongly disagree with Terrans on their side of the map. Hellions still poking in either side. This time it's a Banshee from Clem. He's got the 3 CCs, of course. Of course. Right. Pretty sure 3 CCs just kind of come with picking Terran nowadays. Zerglings into the third. And again, no defense is going to bleed out a few more SCVs. Maybe get a few Marines here. Oh, doesn't quite get the last one, but the Hellions come back. Marines, high ground vision, but that's the guy. That one right there. A pervert pillar indeed. Taken down. Clem bleeding out SCVs. So Rogue up to 72 drones. This time around it's going to be Ling Bang. Less of a brute force approach and more of a boa constrictor sort of style. Especially if he ends up adding the Hydras in. But the Hellions still finding some of the creep tumors as the Queens doggedly continue their attempts to spread it. Targeting down a few drones with the Banshee. There's an Overseer out. And Queen taking a lot of damage, but doesn't really want to trade out. Hellions darting in. Queen's doing their best to box all this out, but Clem knows where to hit with those Hellions and those Banshees. Hydraless Den on the way. Burrow. Baneling speed. 2 more hatcheries. A partridge and possibly a pear tree being added on. As a scan spots the Hydra Den. Very important for Clem to know that. We should be seeing more tanks. Zerglings into the third. There is a siege tank on the high ground and some Marines. The second factory is... He's just targeting the factory. It's not going to happen. The double drop comes through. And... Brenda, where is everyone? This is it. Oh, no. Well, Clem this time hits. He's going to gun down 1, 2. How many queens now? Well, leave it to the Frenchman to know all about executing queens, but 8 queens taken down, and the Banshees still looking. I think he took down a queen, and the Spore Crawler picks off 1, but 5 drones down, and the double drop is still going to work. Spore Crawlers aren't really there to shoot at the Banshee. They're there to alert the queens that there's a Banshee nearby, and, well, look at that. And indeed they will do so. But again, the Banshee, 19 kills? Oh my god, he gets a queen too. Rogue, still no vision. The Hydra Den is vulnerable. And the Banshee doing a lot of damage. It might be able... He goes with a 4th command center, but already a bunch of Zergling. This time around, Clem is getting absolutely everything and then some. Don't ask how that works. A double drop loaded up. The Spore Crawler outflanked the Banshee in a rare but satisfying display of revenge. Groovy spines completing for the Hydras. That extra range necessary against medevacs and Marines. Hydra speed not as important here because he just needs to defend his bases and keep the Hydras alive. But that's so many Marines, which Rogue realizes upon losing. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. So far, Clem has only lost 8 Marines. He's killed 100 Zerglings. And now he's working on the Hydras to the left flank. Let's go. I apologize. Epilepsy warning. We're going to the Clem camp. He's got double drops. This is his comfort zone here. I say, well, not as comfortable with that many banelings. But Clem is up 25 supply, and Rogue does not have a hive on the way. Clem has 4 bases. Rogue is barely holding on the 5. But this is a perfectly comfortable situation for Terran, especially with 2-2 upgrades. As long as that hive doesn't come online too quickly, Clem is in a solid position.
Additional supply depots required.
A little supply blocked at 188, but he's got more command centers on the way, setting up an attack to the northern flank. And a bunch of siege tanks behind this. That really indicates where he wants to get the most damage done. Pre-split. Already sending some more Marines in. Hydras and Lings trying to trickle through, but that low ground, the siege tanks forcing them to wrap around onto the ramp. And Clem retargeting. No Hydra speed means the Hydras can't close the distance quite fast enough. And Clem continues the attack. Rogue bleeding out on supply. There's just not that much left. The Banelings, he's on the left, he's on the right, and Rogue is nowhere to be seen. He's trying to hold the center, but the Hydras get gunned down on both fronts. GG! He taps it out. Clem, this time around, making Rogue look both ways and hits him on both sides the moment he looks away. Wow, a comfortable victory as Clem just powers through. Rogue might have to return back to the drawing board and pull out another roach one around that. So we're all tied up, and it looks like Clem woke up. Definitely more what we're expecting to see out of the Frenchman than getting waltzed over by a generic roach time. But we're going to Oceanborn for game number 3. All tied up. Rogue versus Clem. Rogue in the red, Clem in the blue. You liking and subscribing. Spawning pool. Yeah, but I mean, what did you expect? Well, that's why I'm here. All right, he's got a spawning pool. This map, yeah, we gotta do the generic map discussion now. This map less, I don't know, it's still very hard to deal with tank pushes here, but your 4th base should be less vulnerable. It doesn't have that kind of ramp area. It has something over to the north side, but a lot easier to get a flank off than we saw on Golden Aura. Don't really know where it went wrong for Rogue, but it certainly didn't really go right. And sometimes at this level, oh my god, the SCV is body blocking! Oh my. A buddy cop movie. I'll hold him down. You shoot him out. So, Clem blocked the third base with the scouting SCV, and then he blocked the drone from getting into the extractor by having the SCV in position, while the Reaper executed him. So that's pretty hardcore, but... Queen thinking about a creep tumor, with the Reaper thinking also about it. That's what I came up with. Oh, the Zerglings come back to guard the way. Creep tumor. Will he go for it? It's Clem. Wait, there are 2 creep tumors. He had enough energy for 2, which already tells you how long this has been delayed. So Clem, an emotional victory to start. I don't know if I'd call it a major one overall, but delaying the creep sets you up for everything else. Makes it easier to dart in with Hellions. And then, later on, makes it easier to stim in with the Marines. Creep is not just speed, but vision on those creep tumors, so... Banshee again. If it ain't broke, well, you should repair it. As here, the cloaked Banshees. There was a 19-kill Banshee. I don't think they were all drones. Actually, I think some of them were queens. But a 19-kill Banshee in the last game. And even if half of them were Zerglings, I think the amount of damage and attention that it dragged away from anything else certainly paid for it. Brenda, come back! Do 2 Hellions and a Reaper beat a Queen? I want to say yes. Especially, well, as long as no one else comes to help them, obviously. If you target the Reaper first, maybe not. Clem willing to test it out, though, of course. Especially considering the grenades. And the interruption of attacks. +1 melee very quickly for Rogue. Does he even have 2 Evo? He does. So, leaning on to the upgrades. The Banshee comes in. Cloak is not done. But Rogue doesn't know that. Spore Crawler's on time. So no lair, by the way. And that means the Banshees, well, except for exactly where the spores are, they'll have free reign over the map. Hellion Reaper trying to keep Rogue off of a 4th base, and is successful at doing so. 2nd Banshee on the way. Join up and also try to deny the opposite 4th base. And what you really need as a mass Ling Bane sort of Zerg is as many hatcheries as possible for larvae. Oh no, more queens! There's a forward spore trying to zone out the Banshees, but without the Overseer. The Zerglings find an okay counterattack. May kill an SCV. Even 2, but the 4th base will be delayed. There's the oh, okay, there's the cancel. Gets the drone as well. Rogue gets 62. Hit the spore. Has to keep reburrowing. Where's Robbie? It takes him a long time to burrow and reburrow. There has to be a better method, Brenda. There is, but we're too cheap for it. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. Well, the Marines almost get caught out, but jam themselves in between the minerals and the gas geyser and minimize their losses. Still loses a chunk of them. But the Banshees into the main find a couple more drones. It feels like Clem, once he warmed up a bit, is now dictating the pace of the game. Another Queen. And, oh look, some more drones. God, these Banshees. It's not a Banshee build. He just has Banshees. They're stealing the show, though. 11 drone kills, and they're still going. Finally, gets one of them. But Clem is up 30 supply and nothing's happened. Well, that's not exactly true, but Clem hasn't actually moved out. There's Burrow. Did he notice the Ling Burrow? Baneling mines are okay. What is this Baneling doing? Got campaign Baneling. Baneling speed is almost done. Clem doesn't have the triple threat, the upgrades, the stim, the +1, or the stim and the combat shield. But it's closing in. He has the medevac, so he can just lift on up whenever the fight gets too dicey. And when he thinks he has the advantage. Wow, look at the supply. Even losing these Marines, that was a mistake. He lost way too many Marines. God, Rogue struggling to put enough on the field to even be competitive right now. He already has 1-1 done. He's working on 2-2. That's where the advantages lie. But he does have to survive to get there. He's got Hive on the way. This counterattack, the Baneling's huge target fire from the tank. It's still 10 SCVs lost, but Rogue's 4th base under fire. The Marines stimming in, gonna get half a dozen drones and then some. Another great siege tank target fire takes down a chunk of the Banelings. And it looks like the Bane Pain train gonna be stopped at the station. As Rogue, he doesn't have the upgrades. He gets on top. The siege tank turns around and fires at the Banes. The Marine split. I can't believe it's not butter. And he just micros his way back. The Queen's trying to take down the medevacs. Will get one. But now the Marines are coming in turn. And the Banshee! He didn't forget about it. He found another opportunity. There's 3 hatcheries. I told you larva's important. And 3 hatcheries in the main. A Burrowedling gonna deny the base. The Banshee! It won't stop! And so +2 Carapace allows drones to survive 2 Banshee hits. That's a fun fact. Now, the fact that this Banshee is still alive is not as fun. Wait, he's not gonna win that fight. The Lings and Banes. The Banshee finally dies. Oh my. And did we see Burrowed Banes? What has happened here? Oh, there's a lot. Clem still taking winning fights, but Rogue with the upgrades is striking back. The Queens, get off my queen! They just flew away, Brenda. Remember when we could fly? Nope. Rogue is supply blocked at 121 over 116, whereas Clem has 145. He just can't keep up with the youngin'. Clem has more supply, more APM than our Zerg player, 420, as he blazes a trail across the map. Meanwhile, Rogue at 390, entirely respectable, but not enough. Clem's up 50 supply. Rogue getting adrenal glands and trying for ultras. But Clem has 4 bases, going on 5. He's got the 2-2 upgrades are in a good enough timing. And he'll have plenty of time. If ultras even make it to the field, they very likely will be on defense. And that means Clem will have time to build up against them. Though no Ghost Academy, no Liberators. The Burrowedlings are doing great scouting. That's actually helping out a lot. Seeing the armies move by and giving him some time to get into position. Yeah, once again. The siege tanks on the high ground. 2-2 done. Maxed out. Good to go. 76 SCVs behind. Clem's got it all going for him. Rogue needs a miracle and then another one. Widowmines on the back. The Banelings crash into the front. But wait, there's more. There's not going to be enough to stem the tide here on Oceanborn. Banelings trying to close in, but kited back into the siege tanks. And before the first ultra, he just taps it out. Clem goes to match point. Rogue got to take it back to the spawning pool. The roaches worked. He's shied away from them. Possibly because of how predictable they likely will be, but I think competing with Clem's micro with Ling Bane is a task reserved for Finnish professionals. Clem with a decisive 2 matches after a tough game 1. And that brings us to Crimson Court. Jimmy, that brings us to Crimson Court. I apologize. SCV Scout. Rogue able to get the quick third through the mineral wall. He actually takes that quite quickly. Will Clem scout for it? He's gonna look, yeah. He sees the mineral wall's mined out. That's already a giveaway. He doesn't need to know for sure there's a hatch there. Just wants to get the SCV. There's no chance of blocking at this stage. So he just sends it right home. I think Rogue, who at one point in his career was able to rely on just that endless waves of Zerg. It's just, well, one, Banelings aren't as good as they once were. 5 less HP across the board is certainly felt. But, oh my god, he comes in, he takes out the creep tumor, he gets back up to the high ground, he gets right on out. He even takes a couple extra shots at the Zergling, which was completely unnecessary. Now, if you're Rogue, and Game 1 was such an odd one, it was Clem going for the Mass Reaper to star. I don't know if that's what the Roaches were in reaction to, but oh my. Queen gets bounced away. Third command center. On the way for Clem. He doesn't have a starport, so no heroic banshees this time. Instead, it's 2 racks. There will be a starport eventually, but more along the lines of a medevac timing, very likely. Bunch of drones on the way for Rogue. Double gas at the natural. By the way, the Rogue. The Reaper gets all the way around to scout that. Survives throughout everything. And finally gets put down, but only after scouting the exact timing. That looks like Roaches to me. The double gas after... It has sort of an Ice Fisher build. For those who just unlocked a memory from many years ago. The gasless up to at least 44 drones into a huge amount of gas and kind of just getting all your tech at once. A very old school style of back when we considered Zerg like I'm doing economy, and now almost a wave-based or turn-based Zerg where you go for all economy and all units and all economy and teching up. Now it's much more fluid. The economies are higher and you simply can't skimp on early units. When it comes to defense. You have to find a way to weave all those things in together. Though it's still true that waves of drones are quite popular. Clem going straight to the double medevac plate. Rogue with the Roaches. We're going back to almost a repeat of Game 1. Where the exact circumstances are slightly different. But it's going to be mass Roaches on a 3-base economy up against a Clem who went straight to medevacs on a 3-base economy. So we'll see if Clem can shore up some of the weaknesses of last time, both to the counterattacks and to the main brunt of the Roach Ravager itself. We'll see if Rogue can turn the tables on the momentum that Clem has built over the last 2 games. As the Marines stem in. 1, 2 drones gunned down immediately. Queen's gathering. But another one bites the dust. And the drones! What? Where are the units? Susan, where is everyone? 9 drones dead. The Roaches are in the mail, but they haven't yet been delivered. And Clem hits a timing just about 15 seconds before Rogue has anything to really stop it. The queens can stall it out, but they're not enough to shut it down. He needed the roaches just a little bit quicker. So already economically hamstrung. He has the supply, but there's no Zergling speed. He was forced to build slowlings, which is just, it's just sad. And comes in, gets a couple more drones. The queens desperately want to at least pick off one of those medevacs. The roaches, he slurps up the marines. Bit of a convoluted fashion. And now Rogue gonna try to go across the map. The Hellions are in position. A scan. There's no hive on the way. Rogue is at 52 drones. He's all in. Even though Clem doesn't know it for sure yet. This time around, he's gonna be able to take a whole bunch of the economy with him. And I'm sure he's preparing multiple bunkers back at home. He's taking this very seriously, but just like Rogue, he doesn't quite have what he needs in time. The bunkers are not going to be done. He splits. 1-1 isn't completed yet. This is best case scenario for Rogue, fighting unupgraded Marines, but the reinforcements come back home. Corrosive bows are thrown up, and actually getting some of the Marines. But overall, Clem will have enough to clean it up for now. Taking down the bunker. Keeping things busy. Gonna take a few SCVs with it. And actually Rogue, with those upgrades initially, has enough to break through. So this timing still dangerous, even with Clem doing so much to deflect it. The siege tanks on the high ground. Rogue, well, it's 1-1 now for the Marines. The medevacs are actually running out of energy because of all these stims and the roach damage. But the Marine count is growing. And Rogue he hasn't built a single extra drone. He's still sending it, okay, well, I get, that's just spiteful. He's gonna try to just end it. And that's probably the best case scenario. He's already seen what happens if you let those drops get rolling. Sending out a scouting medevac. He has enough back at home. What can you even do about it? He can try to shoot himself with corrosive bile. But, yeah, well, Clem knows it's coming. It didn't even cost him a scan. The siege tanks. Fires off a corrosive bile, but the siege tank concave is beautiful. The Marine count is more than enough. The bunker is completed. And Clem is fully operational with his defenses. He stims and he chases it down. And a clean 3 games in a row. After a shaky game 1. Clem decisive in his victory. Which brings us to our anti-spoiler bonus game that I've been waiting to show you guys. I keep forgetting about it. It's from a series that the rest of it was just a one-sided stomp. But it's a Gumi game. Gumi Ho with a very creative build that I noticed. And I want to just get that out there before I forget. So Clem with a decisive 3-1 against Rogue. And it wasn't particularly close. Rogue just... move along, old man. He's still obviously very good. But just not good enough to keep up with Clem this time around. So Gumi Ho proxy Rex against his opponent here. Nice. Who even scouted for the proxy Rex. But he didn't quite. He scouted up about 1 second away. But that's not all. We're not done. A factory is in production. And Gumi Ho has been known. Oh, here comes the first Reaper. Gumi Ho known for breaking out some very creative builds. The Admiral himself. And the Reaper being incredibly annoying, but nice with some good probe micro, minimizing damage so far. Loses 2. The Adept finally finishes. So let me know. I try to, whenever we have bonus games, such as they are, I try to have either the same matchup or the same players, or at least one of the same players. But this game, I've had it in my pocket for a while. Doesn't take up much space, kilobytes. And I just want to get it out there. So let me know if it's weird, if it's jarring to switch from one matchup to another so abruptly. But an armory's on the way. For those who don't know, an armory unlocks your +2 infantry weapon upgrades. It also allows the construction of helmets and other advanced factory units. We'll see. Now think about which advanced factory units that you'd like to see from an armory. It's a Thor drop. Gumiho with no respect. The Adept comes across the map, sees absolutely nothing. There's a reactored barracks out there. He realized that indeed this was a proxy based on the timing of the Reaper. The medevac will spot the stalkers. And there's an immortal on the way, so this is about as hard of a counter as you can get without actively seeing it. There will be an immortal, there are already stalkers, but the Thor is almost here. The SCVs that he wanted to send across the map to repair are still at home. Gumiho! Gumiho! He forgot his repair crew. Oh my god, typical contractors. And suddenly, there's a Thor in the base! He doesn't know it yet. Nice is looking around.
Surprise, motherfucker.
And the Thor is right there. Immortal pops up, misses the first shot onto the Thor, juggles it back. Gumiho can potentially juggle through the immortal shot. Shield battery overcharge, though, is quite a good skill to have. And, yeah, that did nothing. A siege tank on the way, a Liberator, the repair crew. Oh, I thought you guys meant 5 p.m. All right. But the SCVs are here, and they're still... Oh, no, he's going to try to chase it down. There's a tank! The tank will get taken out, but the SCVs will save the Thor just in time. A Liberator into the main, and the Thor will outflank the probes. Actually, he's going to use the Liberator to play zone defense. The no-no zone here. Meanwhile, the Immortal's out on the field. The Thor still blasting. And the single pylon that's powering everything. Oh no, he's gonna try to repower, but the Thor... It's almost checkmate. The Thor blasting through. Gets the Warp Prism. He tried to use the Warp Prism to keep everything powered, but he ended up losing the Prism, which is not great. Meanwhile, though, the starport is in the air. The Thor is besieging the Stalker from the high ground, from his own base. Shield battery overcharged to try to keep it alive. More probes will die. Nice. Down to 14 probes. Gumiho's still with 19 SCVs, though I'm not sure where most of them are. I think they're all just at home. He could drop a mule, I guess. Looks like most of the repair crew outright died. Immortal recalled to the main. Still tag teaming with the Liberator to zone out everything here. Trying to get the Stalkers into range. And Gumiho juggles the Thor back up to the high ground. Trying to kill the Liberator, but the Liberator... Oh, the Stalker barely tiptoes away, but the Thor is still going. Comes back to the low ground. Just flies away. The Immortal can't shoot up. I don't care how big the turret is. Nice has as many probes as he started with. Takes out another one. The Gumiho using a Thor drop to snipe probes. In typical Gumi God fashion. And right now, Nice saying, Gumi, no. I can't believe you've done this. Come on, Gumi, bro. But Gumiho says it's time to Gumi go. Sending everything across the map. A single Immortal. The pylon not in position. Gonna kill another probe. Shield batteries don't do anything against the Thor hammers. The bunker! Oh my god. Oh wait, he has a Marauder. It's fine. I don't know how many kills it has. I'm gonna see in a moment, I think. 12 kills. Does it have DPS? A shield? No. He's dodging Stalker shot! He's dodging Stalker shots with the Thor. Don't you let it die, Gumiho. You better not. This is just gratuitous. Like watching an ant pick up a beach ball. Even if the Thor, well, oh my god. He gets it! Thor is dead! Long live the Thor! Hey, can he build another one? Actually, okay. I was so carried away. Well, Gumio's built 4 racks and a command center behind, and somehow the medevac. Wait, there's 2 medevacs. I didn't even realize there were 2 medevacs this whole time. He's ferrying tanks back via medevac express transport. Oh my. What a Gumi game indeed. But now we're dragged. And Nice actually has more workers, which kind of happens when you have 2 bases. So the Thor drop, which, because of pretty much what Nice did here, shouldn't really work against Protoss. But Gumiho made it work. It was about an ideal scenario for Nice to defend, and still, he's in quite an awkward spot. The Liberator, really, the MVP. The Factory scouting the main. I guess that'll keep the Stalkers busy. He's got double siege tank. And a War Prism. We're not... He's done it... Okay. He's gonna juggle the siege tanks. And the Stim Marines and Marauders. Tanks get a volley. He needs a battery overcharged. He doesn't have the energy for a few more seconds. There's disruptors on the way as well as prism speed. I'm reminded of Nice versus Has in a game similar to this one. Oh my. Tank still pounding the point. Shield battery overcharge keeps the pylon alive. The Immortal's still helping. Oh, gets it for the disruptor shot. Comes in. That pylon is the only one powering all this. Nice realizes. Gonna try to juggle the Immortals on top. More bio coming across the map. The not-so-fast Zealots getting concussive shelled to death. And chased down the Disruptor. Another Disruptor on the way. But there's no gateway units to cover. He fires off a shot. Settles for 2 Marauders, which is pretty good, actually. Gumiho darts back in. Can't fit everyone in one medevac. There's still that Immortal. Well, he couldn't juggle them out in time. And GG. But yes, I desperately wanted to show you guys that game. It was so good. Blizzard shut down the servers, but we're still here. I don't even know why we need to be connected to the internet to watch a replay, but anyways. Wow, that's an odd one. But thank you for watching. I hope it made your day a little bit better. I hope to see you next time. And if you got the means of motivation, be also check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing. Still free. For now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.